Hi, Sam here from Roberts Geospatial. We're looking at ProRaster Scientific, and today I want to show you how to use the multispectral satellite scene database browser. So I've got ProRaster Scientific here open. To open a scene database that I've already created, of course, I can simply press on the button. And then if there's more than one database, it'll bring up a list and you choose the one that you want to open and it brings up the browser. Alternatively, you can drop the button down and go Browse Scenes and select the scene database that you want. So when the scene database browser comes up, you can see that there's a top section with a map in it and a bottom section with a spreadsheet. You can resize this dialog as you see fit. So firstly, taking a look at the map. This is just like any other map in ProRaster. So you use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, and then left click and drag and release to pan around. Right click to get a pop-up menu. So firstly, at the bottom here you can turn the country display on and off. So we're looking at a sort of topographic map of the world with countries on it. You can turn those countries off. You get a tooltip showing you your latitude and your longitude. Next option is the projection. So at the moment we're in the standard latitude longitude projection. You can also change it to a web map projection, which is like Google Earth, a globe projection, and you can look at the North Pole and the South Pole. The reason you might do that is because we don't show all of the scenes in every projection. So in this projection, the standard projection, we don't show scenes that are way down here at the South Pole or the North Pole. So in order to see those scenes, you need to change to an appropriate projection. So here we are at the South Pole, and you can now see from these little red boxes that we have some scenes down there to explore. Go to Web Map, for example, and we see more scenes down at the north and south, but they're distorted, as you would expect. And then the globe is more of a, I think it's a model-wide projection. So there are your projection modes. So in this map, as you zoom and pan around, as you go over a scene, which is indicated by a red box showing the spatial extents of the scene, it will list in the tooltip the scenes that you're overlapping. So it might only be one, or there might be multiple scenes, and of course there might be scenes collected at multiple time points. So here it's saying that we've got 3 scenes plus 5 more, and if we go in, we'll find more and more scenes. So on the right-hand click menu, there is a Select Visible Scenes. That allows you to do a spatial query. So there are 2 ways to do it. Firstly, you can double-click on the screen, and any scenes that intersect that point will be selected in the spreadsheet. And you'll see that the spreadsheet has collapsed now to only show those scenes that I've just made a spatial query for. Now down here at the bottom, you can see there's a couple of buttons. One says Execute Query, and the back button does undo the query. So if we undo, we go back out and we're seeing all scenes in the spreadsheet. So the other way to select scenes using a spatial query is to zoom in and then right click and say Select Visible Scenes. And then any scene that intersects the map view at that point will be selected and displayed in the spreadsheet down here. And all the other scenes will no longer be visible. We zoom back out, you can see that there's nothing else now visible in the map, only those scenes that we've made a spatial query for. So let's go back again. Now the idea of the browser is to allow you to find scenes and then either to render them or export them, or to create products from those scenes. In order to find those scenes, we can browse around in the map, and also we can search through the spreadsheet, and we make queries in order to collapse the size of the scene database or the spreadsheet and to focus down on the scenes that we're interested in. So for example, if I zoom into this area and then go select visible scenes, we now have a subset of the scenes in the spreadsheet. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet. Firstly, by clicking on the header of any row, we can sort the whole spreadsheet by that column. So we can go through the different kinds of processing, different kinds of products, and so forth. Right-click on a column and you'll see some options for adjusting the column widths, and you can also select the columns that are being displayed. So these are the columns that we're displaying by default. In addition to that, there are some other things over here that we can display. For example, we can display the path and the row, and we might want to move those up to an appropriate location next to the tile. Hit OK. So now we've got the path and the row included in our spreadsheet. So if I select multiple lines in the spreadsheet, I can then hit the execute query to collapse the spreadsheet to just those ones that I've selected. And you can go and select by selecting rows, or the way that it's really designed to work is that you go through the columns here, you sort the column, and then if you go to the thing that you're interested in, for example, I might be interested in all the OLI tiers instruments. If I double click on that, it will now select all the rows that contain the OLI tiers instrument down to the point that it changes. So by sorting, I've made sure that I've selected all of those rows. Now I can collapse. And I've only got now the scenes that use that particular instrument. So what you might normally do is you would firstly do a spatial search perhaps, then sort by platform. Here we've only got Landsat, so that's fine. Sort perhaps by family. We have Landsat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might only be interested in Landsat 8 and 9, so let's collapse to 8 and 9. Then take a look at the bird. You might sort by bird. We probably want both of those birds. We look at the processing. We need to, all the processing is the same, so that's fine. The product is the thing that you'll often sort on. So we've got bottom of atmosphere showing there and raw, which is your top of atmosphere. So let's choose bottom of atmosphere and collapse to that. And as you can see, as we collapse, the spreadsheet gets shorter, but also the number of scenes in the map gets reduced as we cut scenes out of our selection. Then we might want to sort, for example, by tile and select a certain tiles, or we then might want to search by acquisition date. So let's say if we select all these 112.82, well, we can select like this, collapse to 112.82, then sort by acquisition date. So now we have a series of scenes, all one specific scene acquired at different dates, and you can see here the cloud in those scenes. So by selecting a scene in the spreadsheet, we can then right-click, and we've got a few options. So firstly, we can render the scene. Let's hit render scene. Comes up with the red, green, blue band combination algorithm. You choose your spectral target, you choose the band combination that you're interested in. It selects the bands in order to render that. You can turn on pan sharpening and masking and hit OK, and it will just render that scene in your main user interface. Now that we've created an existing algorithm, if we're now right-click, you'll see there's another option, render scene to layer. So we take that scene and natural color, whatever, put it in, and now we've got those two scenes displayed in that one algorithm. Also, you have the option to display scene. So that's unlike rendering, it will just display the first band of the first field using a simple lookup table color algorithm. And you use that to explore your data in a more detailed way. And also down here we have export scene, so I say export, brings up the export dialog, and the scene here is fixed. You can't change the input, but you can change the destination. So you can either export it to an MRR, or you can export it to a bunch of TIFF files or band interleave files. And you can select the resolution level that you want to export. You can choose which events you want to export and which fields and bands. So you have all these fields, etc. You might just want to export the bottom of atmosphere reflectance bands, and away you go. And it'll either produce that MRR, or it will produce a collection of transportable raster files, which are either TIFF files or BIL files. So that's export. Now, the other option, of course, is at the very top. So create scene product. So we're going to take this scene and we're going to turn it into a product. So hit that. It'll ask you what product what product database you want to place the scene into. I'll make a new one, my new product database, okay. And it's created this product. Product just contains the scene. And from there, I can go to work. I can mask it and clip it, reproject it, compute spectral indices, calculator, statistics, and all the rest of it. If I select multiple scenes, then there'll be more options. So here, for example, we can create a scene sequence product, or we can have the option to create a collated scene product. So if we create a scene sequence, and we stick that into the new one. If I render this now, natural color, from my 6 scenes, I now have a sequence of scenes, and we can skip through them. And of course that's a product which we can do all of our work on. If we go for a collated scene, so for example, if we take, say, this scene and this scene, this one has almost 20% cloud, this one has almost no cloud. So I make a collated scene product, put it into my new database. They can order by cloud and mask by whatever I want to mask by, let's say land clear. Opens that up in a scene editor, in a product editor. Render that now, hit OK. And now we have a collated scene product. You can see that the ocean has been masked out of this. And even though we had a lot of cloud in one of those scenes, we've filled in all that bad data, or most of it, with good data from the adjacent scene or temporarily adjacent scene. So let me close that down. So that is the multispectral satellite scene database browser. It allows you to peruse your database, find scenes, gather the scenes that you want to create products, select them, create products, and also render scenes. So thanks for watching.